My LUO Lover. Episode 1. The Man She Wasn't Looking For. She went to Kisumu to promote her new gospel album, but she came back with something she never expected. A man she couldn't stop thinking about. And the strangest part, she wasn't looking for love. In fact, she was already in a relationship that looked perfect from the outside, but was slowly destroying her from the inside. This is the story of Vanessa, one of Kenya's most famous gospel singers. Her voice was everywhere: radio, television, churches, TikTok, YouTube. Everywhere she went, people recognized her. And when Vanessa announced that she was taking her new album to Nyanza, the response was enormous. Her first major show was in Kisumu. Thousands of people came to see her. The crowd sang every word. Some people lifted their hands. Others cried during the worship session. And when Vanessa finally stepped off the stage, she was exhausted. But she smiled, because this was the life she had always dreamed about: fame, success, a beautiful career, a loving relationship. At least, that's what people thought. After the concert, one of the major sponsors invited Vanessa to a private dinner. That was where she met Eric. And Vanessa immediately noticed something strange about him. He was rich, extremely rich. The kind of rich where you don't have to ask what someone does for a living. The cars answered that question. The security answered it. The house answered it. The businesses answered it. But Eric didn't behave like a man who knew he was wealthy. He was calm, humble. He listened. He didn't interrupt people. He didn't demand attention. And when Vanessa thanked him for supporting her concert, Eric simply smiled. "Don't thank me. Your music brought people together tonight." Vanessa smiled. It was such a simple statement, but she remembered it. Before she left, they exchanged numbers. Nothing romantic. Nothing serious. Just a people who had met after a concert. Or so Vanessa thought. She returned to Nairobi a few days later. Her shows continued. Her interviews continued. Her album promotion continued. But Eric occasionally sent her a message. "Have you eaten? Did you get home safely? How was today's show?" Small things. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing that would make Vanessa suspicious. Until one evening, Eric asked her a strange question. "Vanessa, are you happy?" She laughed. "Of course I'm happy." Eric didn't laugh. He simply said, "Sometimes people can look happy and still be hurting." Vanessa went silent because, for some reason, those words touched something she had been hiding. She quickly changed the subject. But that night, she couldn't sleep because Eric had accidentally touched the one part of her life she never talked about: her relationship. The man she called her boyfriend was also her manager, and he controlled almost everything: her bookings, her contracts, her finances, her business dealings, even decisions about her career. At first, Vanessa had thought it was love. He was the man who helped her build her career, the man who stood beside her when she was still struggling, the man who told her, "One day the whole country will know your name." And they did. But somewhere along the way, the support became control. The love became manipulation. And the man who once protected her became the man she was afraid to leave. Still, Vanessa kept smiling. She kept singing. She kept telling people that God was good. And perhaps the saddest part was, she believed she had no way out. Then something unexpected happened. Eric invited her to another event, his daughter's birthday. Nothing big, he told her. Just family and a few close friends. Vanessa almost refused. But something made her accept. And that decision would change everything. When she arrived at Eric's home, she was stunned. The compound was enormous. Luxury cars everywhere. Beautiful gardens. Security at the gate. The kind of home that told you immediately, this man had money, a lot of money. But then Vanessa heard laughter coming from the backyard. She followed the sound and stopped. Eric was standing beside a barbecue grill, wearing a simple shirt, jeans, no expensive suit. No bodyguards surrounding him. He was serving food to his daughter's friends. One young man looked at his plate and complained. "Uncle Eric, why did you give me such a small piece?" Eric burst out laughing. "You're eating for free in my house and you're still complaining?" Everybody laughed. Vanessa couldn't help smiling. She had expected a billionaire. Instead, she found a father.
And then she noticed something else. Eric knew his daughter's friends. He knew what she liked. He knew her favorite cake. He knew the music she loved. He knew about her university. He knew the little details fathers usually miss when they're too busy making money. And Vanessa watched him, quietly, because suddenly, the wealth didn't matter anymore. She was seeing the man behind the money. Later, Vanessa learned something that made her heart sink. Eric's wife had died many years ago. He had been alone ever since. He could have her married. He could have dated whoever he wanted. With his money, there was no shortage of women willing to be with him. But Eric had chosen to concentrate on raising his daughter. He had been there for her. School, graduation, birthdays, difficult moments, everything. And Vanessa saw something she hadn't seen in a long time. A man who stayed. A man who took responsibility. A man who understood that loving someone wasn't just about buying them expensive things. It was about being there. Then came the moment that completely melted Vanessa. Eric's daughter walked over to her. "Can I tell you something?" Vanessa smiled. "Of course." The girl looked at her father, then back at Vanessa. "My dad doesn't invite many people here." Vanessa laughed. "Maybe he's just being polite." The girl shook her head. "No." Then she smiled. "He likes you." Vanessa's smile disappeared for a second. She looked toward Eric. He was talking to some guest, almost as if he could feel her looking. He turned. Their eyes met, and Eric smiled. Vanessa quickly looked away. Her heart was beating just a little faster. She didn't understand why. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't looking for another man. She wasn't ready for another relationship. And yet, for the first time in years, she felt safe around a man. Later that evening, Vanessa sat alone on the veranda. Eric came and sat nearby. "You seem quiet." Vanessa smiled. "I'm just thinking." "About?" She looked at him. "You're not what I expected." Eric laughed. "What did you expect? A rich man?" And she smiled. "A rich man who behaves like a normal human being." Eric laughed again. Then he became serious. "Money doesn't change who you are. It only makes it easier for people to see who you already were." Vanessa looked at him. There was something about those words. Something warm. Something honest. And then Eric asked her again, "Are you happy?" This time, Vanessa didn't laugh. She looked down. For a few seconds, she said nothing. Then she whispered, "I don't know." Eric didn't push her. He didn't ask questions. He didn't try to take advantage of the moment. He simply said, "That's okay." And somehow, those two words nearly broke her. Because nobody had asked her that question in a long time. Not as a celebrity. Not as a gospel singer. Not as someone's girlfriend. Just as Vanessa, a woman, a human being. And that night, when Vanessa returned to her hotel room, she sat on the edge of the bed. She removed her earrings, put down her phone, and stared at herself in the mirror. For the first time in a very long time, she asked herself one question. What if I could actually be free? But Vanessa didn't know. That freedom was about to come at a very high price. Because somewhere in Nairobi, the man she had been trying to escape from was already becoming suspicious. He had noticed Vanessa's new friendship with Eric, and he wasn't happy. Not at all. Then, 3 days later, a famous Kenyan entertainment blogger published a story that shocked the country. The headline read, "Famous gospel singer trapped in toxic relationship." Vanessa saw the headline. Her hands started shaking, because the blogger knew things that only a few people knew. And then she read the final paragraph. Her heart stopped, because the blogger had discovered something even Vanessa had been hiding. Something that could destroy her relationship, her career, and possibly expose the man who controlled her life. But there was something else. Eric had also seen the story, and when he finished reading it, he picked up his phone. He called Vanessa. She answered, "Hello." Eric was silent for a moment. Then he asked, "Vanessa, tell me the truth. How long have you been living like this?" Vanessa closed her eyes, and for the first time, she couldn't lie. She began to cry. To be continued. Subscribe to the Ian Villa Show to catch up with the next episode of My LUO Lover.